What is happening? Welcome to my channel. My name is Matt Bradford. It's here. Intro to rock lap steel. I am really stoked for this. This is kind of like the thing that I do. And look, this is building off of some previous beginner lessons. Okay, so if you're new here, if you're just looking for rock lap steel, we're going to get into it. But if you don't understand kind of how I'm presenting it, here is on one of these sides is the playlist for beginning lessons, and at least do the first couple because I explain kind of how it works. I explain how the notation process is going to work, etc. We're not doing tabs because it's a whole thing. Doesn't matter. I explain it all in those other things, but we're here and we're rocking, and I'm very excited. First things first, I am playing a Apocalypse Machine lap steel. I build these. Don't drop it. I have them for sale. The reverb link is below. If you see something you like, then, shoot me an email, mattbradfordmusic@gmail.com, and we can figure out a better price because there's no fees, etc., etc. Also, if you can't see anything because you're overseas, then shoot me an email, and I can send you what I've got. I build conversion necks for Telecasters, and also full instruments like this, and I have an original body shape as well. All of today's lesson materials are on Patreon. The link is below. Is the time of this filming, it's $5 a month. We've got a great community over there. I have t-shirts, and I don't have one here. Whatever, it's fine. I have t-shirts for sale. Link is below. It's how I'm trying to help support this. It's a Matt Bradford and the Apocalypse Machine t-shirt right now, and there's more coming, we hope. And then, finally, yeah, if you just want to leave me a tip, you like what you see, you don't want to join any Patreon stuff, you don't want a recurring payment, you don't want a t-shirt, you're just like, dude, I got something out of this, it was super helpful, here's some QR codes, leave me a tip, I would be greatly appreciated, and obviously conversely, if you can't afford $5 a month, I've been in that position before myself, and so if you can't afford $5 a month, shoot me an email and we'll figure something out, okay, which we're all working together, it's a team sport. So, let's talk about rock lap steel. This is my tone for today. I'm in open D tuning, right? D, A, D. F sharp, A, D. D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. Awesome. Now, we're going to start where everyone starts with rock, and we're going to play Smoke on the Water. Now, if you're sitting there and you're groaning, stop it. Okay, oh, everybody can do it. Then, whatever. I'm telling you right now, it's harder than it looks. So let's start with this. These are our notes. We're starting at the 5th fret, right? Smoke on the Water is in G. And, here's the chart from the very first beginner lesson where we talked about the notes, but we're gonna really, I'm not throwing that chart up, so I said that and then it didn't happen. Okay, whatever, it's fine. These are the notes in G. We're playing our G chord, and then we're going to our flat 3, and then we're going to our 4. Now, simple enough, right? But that's not good. What we have to do is, I have some echo on here that's just not helping me at all. Okay, had to fix the recording there. Okay, so listen, it's not just like, it's not gonna work, okay? It's all about, in lap steel, and especially rock lap steel with this much gain, it's all about muting. All right, so each note, each chord, we're gonna hit it. And then we're going to pick our bar up. You'll notice my fingers are across all of the strings, all 6 strings. If I let my fingers off, you're going to get ringing. If my fingers are only covering up the bottom 3 or 4 strings... Oh, I muted them all. You're going to start getting ringing over here. You have to get them all. So, and again, I need to get an overhead camera at some point. My ring finger... and actually my middle finger a little bit too, is across all 6 strings. Okay? We are playing as a melodic drummer. All right? Now the notes we're using, okay? the 1, in this case G, but it's the 1. I can do it in any key. I can do it in any key. We're doing it in G. G is the 1. Okay? 1 flat 3 4. Right? 1 flat 3 flat 5 4. 1 flat 3 4. And then flat 3 1. Here's the other thing. If you listen to the recording, if you want to guitar it up, you want to slide it up, like, you can do that, but start with just getting it tight, right? This muting thing, this is the especially with this much gain. One of the hardest things I had coming from dobro to like a distorted lap steel was how much the notes are going to overlap each other if you don't mute properly. My muting was never good, and it took my dobro playing down a notch, but like definitely with lap steel, with distorted lap steel, you have to be clean with it. So, right? Really tight, punchy stuff. Now, I've got a couple of backing tracks. One says one is just the drums and the bass, and then one has all the guitar parts, and I'm going to explain why in a second. But it's not the full song, obviously, and I would encourage you to play along with the song. But I am going to include these backing tracks with the lesson materials. So let's do it with the backing tracks, and we're just going to play it tight. That's the whole. Muting is the key more than anything else, right? Oh, I can play the notes. That's not what we're talking about. Right? Keep it tight, keep it grooving. Here we go. Okay, you see what I'm saying? We're keeping it tight, and we're trying to keep rhythm is the key here. And the other thing is this: I was picking with these 3 fingers. I was picking with my thumb and my 2 fingers. Sounds cool. And then when I got more into it, I started using just my thumb. The muting is the same. You can do it either way, and I would encourage you to learn it both ways because, again, this is a beginning lesson and we're developing our energy. But, like, that's a sound. And then is a different sound. And you're going to keep finding these things. When we talk about developing your voice, because really my key here, my idea here is not to teach you how to play Smoke on the Water. But my idea here is to help you develop your voice for what you're doing. Okay. So when we're talking about this, really the idea is I mean, it's cool to be able to play songs, but also how do I approach stuff? How do I approach riffs, especially riffs that are not with the open strings, right? How do I approach, and we're going to get to the chord changes in a second here. How do I approach these things? So when I get into a song that I haven't covered, because that's most songs, right? I've covered a few songs, but most songs I haven't covered. So what's the approach? And that's the key. How do I translate what's happening on a guitar or an organ, in this case, right? Guitar and organ, that's the left and the right side. How do I translate that to lap steel? Now, what's cool about the recording is that you can pan it really hard left, and you'll hear just the guitar. And you can, you'll hear the drums and the bass, but you'll hear just the guitar part. You can pan it really hard right, and you hear the drums and the bass, and then the organ part. So you can really break it up, like what's the guitar doing, what's the organ doing. It's a really cool way to be able to hear some of these songs. It's really nice when I'm figuring it out, because I was like, okay, what's Ritchie Blackmore doing? You know, the old recordings don't have the same fidelity that the new ones do. And so I'm trying to figure it out, and it's like, all right, cool, I can see what's happening. So we've got our basic idea of the riff, right? We could stop there, but what I would encourage you to do is play the whole song. So we've got a couple other parts we got to learn. The second part of the song is the verse. Now, we've talked about this before with other stuff. Let me cue up the verse on one of these recordings. Okay, so we've talked about this before, right? The idea of being a melodic drummer. When we're playing rhythm on lap steel or on any instrument, really, on guitar, on bass, whatever, being a rhythmic drummer, we want to lock into what's going on around us. One of the cool things, and you know, no one really teaches this part of the song, right? We learn that initial riff and then we just move on with our lives. This song is so cool because you have these really cool rhythm parts happening left and right. You have, on the left side, you have the guitar. And the verse goes like this. So, here comes the verse. Check it out. Get G, G, F, G. Just G, then G, F, G. Okay, so it's only 2 chords in the verse, G and F. And the drums are going boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. The bass is going boom, 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 boom. And the guitar is playing. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm palm muting. If you don't know how to palm mute, let's talk about it real quick. This is huge with distorted stuff, and it's huge with rock stuff, so it's very important. I'm gonna take the fatty part of my hand. I'm not calling you fat. Unless you're, no, I'm not saying that, see? No, it's 2025. Get in trouble. So take your palm of your hand here, and it's gonna rest essentially on the strings near the bridge. Now, that is a hard, that's not a good, that's not a good description, right? So what I'm gonna do is this, I'm gonna take my hand, I'm gonna put it right over the bridge pickup, and I'm gonna rest the palm on the strings. So I'm not gonna be able to hear the notes at all. Right, it's pretty much dead muted. This part of my palm is on the strings, and then I'm gonna slowly move my hand backwards towards the bridge, right? This way. Now you can see I have degrees of muting. I can keep it really muted. If I keep moving my hand back, right? That's still muted. So I have all these degrees of muting, and this is super important because when we talk about playing music, what we're really talking about is dynamics. And so as we get into playing lap steel or playing rock or playing music, it's not just about the notes. The notes are the least important part of the thing. How you play the note is the music. And so a tight palm mute, right? Or a loose palm mute. And maybe they're both going to be appropriate. But you'll notice that it's all about the muting here. It's not the notes. I'm on the 5th fret, I'm playing G. I'm playing a power chord G, which we talked about in lesson 1. We talked about it in beginning lesson 1. And it's gonna be the thing that comes up over and over again. The same notes. The notes are the least important part, how I play them. So I'm gonna palm mute. And at the beginning of the song, I'm gonna palm mute really tight. As the energy gets bigger, I'm gonna palm mute less. So maybe the second verse I'll palm mute less. I am so itchy. You know what I mean? Like this is how we rise and fall with the music. Okay, so and that's how I'm playing my G. I'm palm muting. I'm playing the bottom 2 strings with my thumb pick, and then I'm playing the 4th string with my 1st finger. And I'm muting everything. Okay? You see that? We're keeping it tight. Again, it's all about the muting. And then the way the song goes, it's 2 bars of G, and then Okay, so it's 2 bars of G, and then you have like a half bar of G, half bar F, and then it comes back to G. And so let's do that real quick. Check it out. So this is that part. All right, and so you'll see that I've just put it in the chart here, and I have the notes over here. But this is, if I tab this out, it becomes this like really complicated thing. And if I don't tab it out and I just show you what the chords are, I don't know why I'm yelling at you. I do because I'm excited about this. This is super important. Tabs are a cage, and open strings are a cage, and they're a cage that I lived in for a long time. And so I could tab it out for you, and you could have this, and you don't know that it's 1 flat 3 4, 1 flat 3 flat 5 4, right? You can apply that to so many songs as soon as we know that it's not 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 3 3 3 5 5 5. Like, it's not that. It's G, G. It's kind of a dominant. It's G5, G5, G. That's what I'm gonna put on the thing. G5, G5, right? G5, 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 F5, G5. Like, it's just that, and that is what gives us our stuff. So, camera's overheating. We're gonna pause it. We're gonna. Oh my God, 21 minutes. Okay, we're gonna pause it, and I'm gonna let the camera cool down and replace the battery and all that stuff, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the chorus and we're gonna talk about leads. Okay, we're putting all that in this. Not a lot of lead stuff today because this is just it's the beginning stuff. But I want you to have the notes. We'll be right back. Practice. Okay, so now let's say you're playing with a friend. You're playing lap steel, so you probably don't have any friends. But let's say you do. Okay, speaking from experience. Unnecessary insults, my favorite kind. So the organ part is on the right side of this recording, and if you listen to it, right, so when we get to the verse, they're both doing it together. Okay, so it's on this side for you. Yeah, on this side for you, but whatever. The point is that the organ is doing something similar to the guitar, but they're playing off of each other. So the guitar, okay. Now the organ, I can't get the voicing that the organ is using on this recording. And what I mean by voicing is the notes that are being played for the chord, right? He can grab, and I forget the organ player's name, but he can grab, I mean, up to 10 notes if he wants to. I mean, he's probably grabbing, 6 or 7. Yeah, 5, 6, or 7, something like that. So I'm not grabbing all those notes. What I am doing is I'm grabbing just the top 2 strings against the 1 chord, and I'm playing that rhythm. And again, we're muting these 2 fingers, 1 and 2. Now that's an approximation of what he's doing, because throughout the recording he keeps changing it up and he starts adding more stuff and adding licks and all that stuff. But again, so you have one side, the guitar on the left side is your right, so this, if you're facing the left side, the guitar's over here. Right? Organ. Now, I bet you think I'm going to play them both together, but I'm not, because I'm not that good. So, the point is, we're grabbing these chords, and we're not just playing. You could, but there's no place to go. And so, as we talk about lap steel and we talk about the way that this song is put together, one of the things that's super cool is that they're leaving space to grow. right? They're keeping the verse smaller, so then when we get to the chorus, which we're going to talk about right now, all of a sudden these big chords... And if you make the face, it helps. Tone is in the face. All right, so the chorus goes from our 4 chord to our flat 2 chord, flat 2 major. So 4 major, by the way, so we're not playing power chords here. We're playing straight across. Now, I'm not playing all the strings. I'm playing the bottom 4, okay, these 4 on my 4 chord. And then I'm playing the bottom 5 on my flat 2 chord. And then I don't know what I'm doing on the 1 chord. Probably just playing the power chord because there's other stuff going on. And then again, as the song progresses, they start doing more with that 1 chord. But for now, let's start with this. Check it out. It's just 4 to 1 to flat 2 to 1. Okay? And 1's a power chord. Okay? 4. And then the riff, right? And then the riff. And I don't need to teach you the riff again because you already practiced the riff and you're muting it properly so we can do it right. I got distracted. And that's where my track ends. But this is a 5.5-minute song. 5 minutes and 42 seconds, if memory serves. So the point is that we have these three parts. And the only place where it gets a little bit different is during the solo. If you want to play the rhythm parts, it does the verse for a while. When it goes to the 4 chord to the flat 2 chord, they get held twice as long. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, they're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. So I would encourage you to play along with the entire song. And we've covered all the parts. It has the riff, it has the verse part, it has the chorus part. And then it goes back and forth. And so, we have these parts. You could sit down and learn them and then play along with the entire song. Now, I know that, okay, 2 things. Number 1, doing that, if you listen to the song, these guys are playing the riff for 97% of the song. And then Richie Blackmore has a big solo for part of it, and then the organ does some tweedly-tweedly-dee stuff after the solo, right? But I would point out that all the fancy stuff is secondary to this riff that we all know and we have all heard a million times, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason that we all know it. Part of it is its simplicity, but part of it too is it just gets stuck in your head. So focus on crushing that riff. Okay, so now let's just throw up the pentatonic scale, the minor pentatonic scale here. And I don't want to get too far into soloing and all that stuff, but I will tell you that you can use this pentatonic scale over these progressions. And so let me give you a couple of licks that, see, I should have chopped it up. I should have chopped it up and put it on a bunch of different pads if I had thought this through in advance, but I didn't. I just made the track, and then here we are. So, look, G minor pentatonic scale. Okay, G. This is our 1. I didn't play the 3rd. I didn't play the 3rd string. It's not the right note. Why am I yelling? Okay? So let's just take a couple licks. If we have this thing going. Okay, so what I would like for you to do, this is a beginning lesson. So we're not going to sit down and break everything down and break it all out. I did work out the melody, the singer's melody, which is something that I would also encourage you to do. I did it on the back of my power bill, and it looks like this. This is how professional I am. This is how I work stuff out. Let me see if you can actually see this. I don't know, but it's just the numbers, right? And the whole melody comes out of the pentatonic scale. That's all coming out of the minor pentatonic scale. But might be a little advanced for a beginning lesson. What I want you to do is just play with these 6 notes, okay? We have our 4/5, flat 7, 1, 3, flat 3, right? So 4/5, flat 7, 1, flat 3. Well, you're like, Matt, that's only 5 notes. Right, because the flat 7 occurs in 2 separate places. And I'm going to count them as 2 different notes, even though it's really only 5 notes. So that's your pentatonic scale, penta meaning 5. But what I really want you to do is just play along. You can either use my track or you can use the track. But just those top 2 strings. And you're going to find, I hope, that, and again, the point here is not speed. The point here is to make something that is going to feel good. So that's a 1 flat 3 1. 1 flat 7 1. 1 flat 7 twice. 5. Just sit there and play along with the track and just start to familiarize yourself with the sounds that are occurring around this area. That's it. So play along with the track, go into the riff, go into both of the rhythm parts for the verse. Make sure you get the chorus rhythm parts down. Make sure you get all of your rhythm parts down. And then, try to get some cool licks. Maybe they go in between some of the verse stuff. Maybe they go in between some of the chorus stuff. The idea here is to start to familiarize yourself with the instrument. The idea here is to start to develop your ear, because I can show you what Ritchie Blackmore played. I can show you what the singer is singing. I can show you what I would play, but I don't think any of that matters. At the end of the day, and this is, I understand, it's a beginning lesson, and we are beginning, but the idea for me is not to show you how to play a song. The idea for me is to show you how I approach the instrument, and then to help you find your way to approach the instrument so you can develop your voice and your style. And the cool thing about lap steel is that most songs don't have lap steel. And so we're not trying to play note for note what somebody else did. We're trying to develop a way to translate what somebody else did to an entirely different instrument. And so that has its challenges, but it also has its perks, which means we are not stuck in the same box of like, that's not the way he played it. It's like, of course it isn't, because this is not that instrument. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what song I'm playing, then I'm not doing it right. That's the reality. So play with the scale. I'm going to play it on the outro jam. But like, man, we're here. We're doing the thing, and it's going to be great. And I'm stoked that you're here. I hope this lesson made sense. I hope it was a good intro. I got way more coming. Please join me on Patreon and do all the stuff, subscribe and the bell and whatever. All this. I'm trying to make a living. Oh, dude, I ate it on the outro jam. That's not going to work. Okay, thanks for hanging.